Right, good afternoon, early afternoon, mid-afternoon, or even evening or morning to anyone in any other place. So today we're going to be starting some upgrades and modifications to the Voron V0. And of course, we've got some sponsors, so I just have to mention those before we do anything else. A big thank you to Big Tech, Bondtech and Printy Please for sponsoring live streams on Vector 3D. You can find out more via the links in the video description. Okie dokie. Right, so first things first, we're going to go through a rough estimate slash rundown of all the mods I'm planning to do. Things might change like halfway through if things become super overcomplicated. I am dreading this a little bit because of all the loose nuts in here, but we'll get to that. I've hopefully got a partial solution, and it might even be more useful for people that have not built yet as opposed to those that have. So we've got lots of people here, some new people, some different people. Excellent, good to see everyone. YouTube suggested I try a different time, not like directly, but the analytics was like, you should do this earlier. So I'm doing it earlier and we'll see how well it goes. It's good to be live streaming again. So let's have a look first at what the sponsors have provided, and then we'll carry on with all the other mods and stuff that I'm looking to do. So first of all, the BTT SKR Pico. What is it and why would you want it? Well, it's a very, very little control board. It's basically exactly the same size as a Raspberry Pi. The footprint. Oh, I had one open. Okay, well, I'll open this one as well. It's really, really tiny. If I can get it out of the packaging. Oh dear. Right, there we go. Oh, one of the headers are poked through the top. So this is what the Pico looks like. One of the things that makes it very different to most other control boards is that it doesn't use an STM32 processor. Now, while they've not really said much about why they've decided to go with Raspberry Pi, which is a Raspberry Pi 2040, by the way, but I'm pretty sure it relates to chip shortages, I guess, and what silicon is available. So I think BTT have kind of done a smart move in looking at other methods that they can create control boards. So they're implementing different silicon they can get in different places from different sources through different manufacturer, all kind of stuff, just to make sure that they can keep producing control boards as silicon availability changes. So that would be my guess. It's not what BTT have said to me at all. It's literally just my guess as to why they're going with a Raspberry Pi 2040. So yeah, it's very, very small. It also has, where is it? Saw it on here. This chip in here is quite difficult to see. That one right there, between this grey thing and that connector, that thing right down in there, provides up to 5 amps at 5 volts. So that's continuous 5 amps with 6 amps peak. So that should be absolutely plenty for any Raspberry Pi with accessories, I think. So if you had additional screens and stuff attached, I think you're still good with 5 amps. That's a lot of power. It's got a little fuse that you can remove. The footprint and hole pattern's exactly the same as the Raspberry Pi, so I'm planning to stack one on top of the other in this case, which should make, well, it just takes up even less space, which is always useful. And we've got a nice simple single cable connection from one to the other. So they've pre-made this connection over here, and this has got your UART connection. You can plug straight into the Raspberry Pi, and then you're done. So nice and easy to do. It also comes with a USB-C cable, which we could use as well, and it comes with headers and connectors, and of course the obligatory rubber duck that is somewhat squished, slightly deformed rubber duck. I've never understood the rubber duck thing, but it's, you know, it's a thing. So there you go. There we go. So that's the first thing. Of course, that's been provided by Big Tree Tech. Hopefully that's obvious. They are sponsoring. Hopefully that's obvious too, as we've got the message. And there'll be more later about that and other things. I don't understand the rubber duck. It's just confusing. Next up, we have a Bondtech LGX Lite, which is a lighter, smaller version of the previous LGX. So LGX stands for Large Gear Extruder. So it's the extruder design which uses larger gears. So you're probably familiar with what the original kind of dual drive Bondtech gears look like, the kind of 17 teeth to maybe like 10 mil diameter. Whereas these ones are mucho bigger. Let's open it and I'll show you. So of course this was provided by Bondtech for doing this. And they've got designs and stuff, so if you want information on the STLs, that's all in the description. There we go. So these are the large gears used in LGX. I don't know what the LGX ones looks like. I've never seen a normal LGX, but this is what they look like in the LGX Lite. And I don't think this block comes apart. This is as apart as it comes now. These don't seem to just come out. I'm not sure how they're secured, but they are. And this little lever is what does your tensioning. So there's kind of preset levels, so that's completely open, and that's one level and then two levels. The reason for multiple levels would, I mean, my guess would be that maybe, obviously open is for inserting and retracting by hand. First would probably be good for maybe like TPUs and stuff that you don't want to grip too hard, and then maybe your solid filaments, any PLA, ABS, PETG, maybe you use the stronger one. Not 100% sure, but there you go. You do have different options. And there's a bunch of little holes in here. So there's mounting holes on the bottom, and you can put nuts in there, so you can mount it to different things. There's mounting holes in all sorts of places on here, so lots of options, and that sort of thing. So that's the LGX Lite. Obviously we won't be using it in exactly this format, so this comes with a kind of back plate. This is like 2.5 to 3 mil or something. We'll be using a printed piece in here, but nevertheless, that's how it comes and goes together. So very dinky little extruder, very lightweight, NEMA 14 motor, so I mean it's absolutely tiny. And of course, big thank you to Bondtech for sponsoring this. So I'm really hoping this will do a good job of changing my extruder hopes, because if you saw the original build, my extruder assembly didn't go particularly well. So hopefully this will improve that somewhat, by quite a margin, I think. How did this go in this box? I don't know, but it doesn't matter too much. Comes with all the little nuts for mounting and some tube and a sticker. So that's Bondtech's LGX. It's probably going to be a little while before we get to that, because we've got some other stuff to install, but that will be coming. And then lastly, we've got Printy Please, who is a little UK shop who provides a bunch of mod parts for Vorons, and well, mostly Voron 2.4, but also Voron 0, like this Kirigami bed, and tiny little fans, and so I got some little screws in there as well. So a bunch of different stuff from them too. All the links for the sponsors are down below, so give them some love. If you're looking for mods and parts and things, then check those links out, and that'll do everyone here a favour. Wonderful. Excellent. Did I miss some questions? Middle is normal and hard is for flexibles. So you want more grip for flexibles. I guess that could make sense. I've always gone lower, I thought, for flex. Anyway, the point is there's multiple options, so you can try different things. But the best thing about the fact that you have set options is it's repeatable, because I don't know if you know, but the amount of tension that you put on your extruder will adjust the amount of filament you get out. Because if you screw it more, if it's tighter, it will compress more and it will change the effective diameter or effective radius of the gearing teeth and how it interacts with the filament. So if you tension it more, you will get more filament. If you tension it less, you will get less filament. So being able to have it repeatably set to the same point again and again and again after like opening it or having to clean out gears and stuff like that. I mean, this one's got open gears, but the point is it resets to the same place every single time, which is super handy. That was one thing I was going to check actually, but I mean, we'll get to that. I mean, there's obviously lots of disassembly to do, and I think most of today's episode will be careful disassembly and trying not to lose parts, and also doing my best to remember how everything goes together, because there's a lot to do. So the other mods that we're going to be looking at, so I've mentioned SKR Pico, LGX Lite, Kirigami Bed, small little sun-on fans. I can't remember what fans come with it, but Printy Please offers these very tiny little adorable fans, so we'll give those a go. I'm adding a new X-rail. Unfortunately, my one in the LDO kit was a little bit wobbly. You probably can't see it on camera. Maybe a tiny bit you can. See if I zoom in all the way over here, can you? There you go, you can actually see that. I can on my side anyway. So the carriage is just a very tiny bit wobbly, and it is the carriage, it's not the mounting screws. I have tested this. So unfortunately, as the amount of tension needed to pull the filament through, or stuff happening under the nozzle or whatever, it does seem to adjust like up and down very slightly as it prints, which results in really uneven layers, which is slightly unlucky. And I do seem to have really rolled the dice and got very unlucky with that, because it doesn't seem to be a problem that anyone else has had. So just my luck, but we've got a replacement rail to do that. I'm also going to try and add a hinge to this top hat. There's no real handles or anything on it at the moment. So whenever you want to change filament, because it's like up here, it's not very easy to do from the front door. So it's going to be nice to open this to the side and then take out your filament, do whatever you need to do, and then just lower it back down. That's the plan. I think that will work quite well. Also going to add some RGB LEDs, so an LED strip up in here to add some illumination, and partly because the SKR Pico comes with a plug for RGB LEDs, so we're going to give that a try. Also going to add a rear door hinge. Now, if you have built a V0 or learnt about them quite a bit, you'll know that they use these nuts that don't really secure in the slot at all, so they move up and down and all over the place. So whenever you want to get into the rear panel, it can be a bit of a pain. You end up taking it all off, the screws go, then the nuts then fall down, and you have to take ages replacing the rear panel, and oh, it's a nightmare. So I'm going to plan to basically copy the front door design, move it around to the back, and it's going to hinge open like that. So that will give me access to the stuff at the back within 10 seconds as opposed to half an hour. So yeah, it's not going to be too dramatic a mod, I don't think. It should be quite simple. I have designed all the parts for these mods, but obviously I've not tested anything because, you know, this is my only V0 and I didn't want to dismantle everything, fit it all to test it, and then dismantle it again to show you. So I was like, okay, we'll just hope for the best. So I've done the design, and if it doesn't fit, then we'll modify it as we go. That's the hinge, and then the no drop nuts. So that's a Voron mods mod. It's on the Voron mods docs site, whatever it's called. And that's just it's like a little 3D printed nut carriage which holds the nuts. See if I can find one. Looks like this. So this is just designed to hold nuts, and then you can slide it into the channel and it'll hold them in place. So that just means, obviously, when you take everything out, the nuts will stay in the same place. They won't slide out the end as soon as you turn it on its edge or anything. So that's them. I think that's the general goal. That's what we're trying to do. I've got some belts in case we need them. I might try doing a, let's go here, Pi Zero W, because I've not used it yet. I've got one, but I bought it knowing that I want it on something. I just never know when's the right time. So maybe now's going to be, I haven't got a header for this. I don't think we'll need it anyway. Actually, we will, so I might need to get rid of those. Anyway, yeah, we've got this Raspberry Pi Zero W, and of course, the hole pattern for 2 of the holes will match the control board, so that could potentially be a really small, adorable option to fit in here rather nicely. Yeah, that's that. So, the question is, where the hell do we start? I think the first thing is got to be just dismantle electronics and just rip everything out. Not like aggressively rip, strategically dismantle. Because I need to get to the bed assembly and replace a large portion of the electronics, knowing this board, probably move this, maybe move this. So like a lot of this has got to come out anyway, and a lot of this has got to probably be modified. So I think it's probably just best to kind of get it all out, which will take a little while probably. And once we've got it all out, then we can reassemble it kind of along with the manual, hopefully. And that will maybe prevent too many mistakes. So, where does one begin? No idea. We know we've got to take this out, so let's start with that. I've lost my screwdrivers. What a great start. Here they are. I tidied them up earlier knowing that I was going to need them and just forgot to bring them back to this desk. I see you have a little Noctua fan on the Pi. Did you have issues with heat? Yes, indeed, I did. It is a very hot little machine, and that Pi, it is a Pi, oh, it's only a 3B+, so it's not even the hot 4. But even with a heatsink, that was not enough. I added some holes in the back panel. That was not enough. So I ended up just sticking a fan in here. Might modify this slightly. It is just literally stuck on with some VHB tape. But yes, it just, I don't know why exactly, because it is kind of separated from the main enclosure, but there's just no air circulation, and these panels are not, I mean, they kind of insulate for a bit, but that's really just a time thing. So it'll be okay for like the first 20 minutes and then overheat. So that's the way it is. So yeah, just a little fan, and I've just plugged it directly into the Raspberry Pi. It shouldn't draw very much power, and the Raspberry Pi can power a little bit of 5 volts. So I've just gone that easy route there. Let's take out the filament first. That's a good shout. I think it's, yeah, it's fine. Because I have retraction at the end of the G-code. Hopefully there's nothing in the nozzle, so that should be fine for a disassembly. Yeah, this isn't going to be maybe much of a guide because I don't have a specific plan for what order to do things in. I'm mostly just going to be pulling at things that I know need to come out until I've taken all the things out that I know need to come out. And I will probably need somewhere to put the things that come out. I've got some little trays for smaller stuff, but a bigger tray for some bigger stuff is probably a good idea. Oh, I've got some V0 handles as well. I printed these as a test part when I was doing my VCOL 3 versus Voron video, and these just fit in these channels here. Could add those as handles, so we'll put them to the side. So that's just going to be a box of stuff that I remove. Right, let's get into it. We've got a lot to do. 3D Gusner, good afternoon, good to see you. Let's take this tube out. I think this should come out fairly easily. I think we should probably go for this channel if we can. This is not, oh no, this should slide actually. That's pretty good, okay. So let's tilt her up. You can hear probably every time I move the printer, everything just, all the nuts just slide. Thank you, Costner. Let's get some likes on this video. Yay! Cool, these are tight. Blooming hell. Let's see if we can get some wiring out of this channel. I have actually, I've purchased a spare back panel because, as in the electronics panel, because I know that I need to get this PCB, this board off of here, and I know I used a lot of that VHB tape, so there's a chance that I either can't remove it, or can't remove it without damaging everything, or breaking the panel, so we've got a spare one just in case the whole thing comes to pieces in the process. As good as these JSD connectors are at staying in, it does make them kind of difficult to remove. There we go. So when I've got this out, I'll do a little comparison actually, size-wise, between the current control board and the new one. Because it's quite difficult to understand or see how different they are until you put them right next to each other. Oh, I'm glad you watched the... yeah, I am pretty excited about how load cells are going to be improving test data. I think there's absolutely boatloads that can be done with that. My biggest challenge at the moment, which I'm getting a little bit of help with, is data analytics, because in my current or upcoming video I've taken 500,000 data points and Excel just goes, oh no, I can't do it. So especially having to try and manipulate those 500,000 bits of data into something useful, it just starts to suffer. So, and I need to automate it, because if I want to do like 20 different hot ends and it takes me a week of data processing to do each one, it's not going to be very feasible. So this is the old board we're taking out. Again, Big Tree Tech. and replacing it with this. It's absolutely tiny. But it's a good bit smaller. It's maybe more easy to see from the back. Dinky, absolutely dinky. So yeah, that's one piece out. SD cards is not in there. Few heat sinks, yeah, that's. I've seen Grafana. I did try and use it a little while back actually. I can't remember what else it was for, or what I tried to use it for before, but it didn't work for what I tried previously. But I might give it a go. I'm using Node-RED as a dashboard for capturing data, and that's working quite well. And I've learnt a bit about that and how I can modify it. So that's, as a capture utility, that's working quite well. But yeah, the analytics that come after it still have a long way to come. So, zip ties. So that's all the hot end stuff. Luckily, the LDO kit has all these wires all very nicely made and crimped and labelled and everything, so that should make at least the rewiring a bit more simple when we get to the other end of this project. Let's take the Raspberry Pi out as well. I'm going to stack it and the Pi together. That is the plan, yes. And luckily the mounts, obviously because this is using a Raspberry Pi already, the Voron mount for the Raspberry Pi will work for the SKR Pico. So if we don't stack it, we've already got this designed mount that we could use instead, or as well, or you know what I mean. So that's that. Take that USB out, that's for power. That's the fan. Here we go, let's show you. You can see, if I put these down here, there you go, how well those footprints line up. They're literally the same. Same size PCB, same hole position, same hole size. It's unfortunate that the Raspberry Pi, oh sorry, this side, didn't go with M3 size holes. They're like 2.5mm holes, which is kind of bizarre. So Big Tree Tech have copied that, so we can't use M3 holes, M3 screws to mount stuff. So I'm a little bit bummed by that, but that's just because obviously this is a specific use case with specific printer and all this kind of stuff. Raspberry Pi did not have in mind 3D printers and Clipper when it was designed, so like they just used whatever screw that they thought was most appropriate. But we should be able to save heaps of room in the back of here. So hopefully we can take this fan off without too much difficulty. There we go. 5V nocturnal fan. It is 5V. I didn't just undervolt it, did I? No, 5V. Let's set that down there. Let's stick the Pi down in there as well. Stick the screws in here. Oh, those screws are stainless steel, so it doesn't really help. drill them out. I've thought about it, to be honest, I have. The only reason I didn't is because I'd have to modify the mounts, and then if anyone wants to kind of replicate what I'm doing, they'd have to drill them out as well. So I was like, do we really, really need to? No. It would be good if they already were, but it's not a problem that they're not, really. It's just different. So, although, arguably, M3 screws are much easier for people to access in 3D printing community. I've got to consider how much I actually need to take out. I don't want to get too carried away with removing parts that don't need to be removed. What I will do is remove this spool holder though. By the way, for anyone that's into their sustainability, which I hope is plenty of you, and using cardboard spools and a Voron, I've created a spool holder which is of the same, mimics the original design, but it is longer, so you can fit cardboard spools on it, because the normal ones don't really fit cardboard spools. So if you're looking for that, there's a link in the description to my GitHub page, and you should be able to find that. So many wires, let's try and move as much out of the way as we can. So I think we want to remove this panel because it's going to be easier to access the plates to take them apart. I'm probably going to regret this because it means the nuts underneath are going to end up all over the place, and I might not be able to replace them without taking the entire printer apart. But, you know, needs must. That'd be kind of annoying. In the future, I'm definitely going to be using less VHP tape. I don't think taking out this panel is going to make a big difference, but I'm just going to try. Yes, I'm guessing that is why they called it the Pico, because it's using that 2040 chip from the Raspberry Pi Pico. That would be my guess. No, there's just no way, is there? It does not compute. Hey, we did it! Magic. Right. So, this stuff is an absolute nightmare to remove, and leaves a horrible residue 95% of the time, I think. So, this is probably going to be a bit messy. Mm. I don't really have any WD-40, unfortunately. I have normal lubricants, but I don't have WD-40. Broke it. Okay, well, I did print replacements, so. I don't think isopropyl actually does help. I think I tried that already, and it just makes it more gooey and mushy. This is why I ended up getting a replacement panel. I knew I was not going to be bothered with doing this. I've even used way too much. If you've used more than this, then you will never remove them. It's really odd, isn't it? It's like, it doesn't seem that sticky. I mean, it's kind of quite sticky. And then you start, because it's, I believe it's pressure sensitive. Pressure, what's the right word? Anyway, responds to pressure. So once you've pressed it hard to glue the two things together, it's not coming apart. Right, let's have a look at what the quality of this other panel is like. If this panel is pretty decent quality, then I think we're just going to leave this for another time. So first, do we have all the hole patterns correct? Yes. So let's pull this back and see what this looks like. That looks pretty good. Oh, you can't really see much because it's just black. Pressure activated, that's the one. Oh, they've put a massive great scratch in this. Could be worse. These pair holes not great. Slightly dodgy, but not too bad. Let's give it a... The trouble is, I just... stresses me out trying to remove adhesive. It's one of those things for me. I just don't have the patience. I think we might just leave it. Let's not worry about it. If you want to remove parts from it, then you go ahead and do that. I doth not have the patience today. What do we need to do next? Obviously the whole bed needs to come out. So, the question is how we go about doing that. In fact, I think maybe let's get rid of more of this wiring first, because we don't need it at the moment. That's a wire that can come out. Even this stuff's kind of... It's easy to get on, and it does do a good job of managing cables, but it's not as easy to remove as you'd think. Either that or my strategy for doing it is just not very good. So you're supposed to just do this, are you? I'm not sure. I've got an idea. Let's just remove this. So now that's out, we can just slide that off. So I don't really need to take all of these cables out, but it's going to make the job, I think, just a bit easier to deal with without cables flopping all over the place and me worrying about trapping them under stuff and breaking things by accident. Blimey, that's very long. So, okay, that's most of the stuff that's moving. Let's have a go at taking this hot end and extruder assembly off now. I think we start this one from the back, if I remember correctly. Probably doesn't matter, but... Oh, I think my alarm might be just about to go off. I set myself an alarm for the sponsor segment because I didn't want to... That's how good I am at knowing when an alarm's going to go off. Oh, my timing is weird. Yes, that literally went off as I picked my phone out of my pocket. So let's do a short, it's like 2 minutes and then we'll be back. This video is sponsored by Big Tree Tech, Bondtech and Printy Please. The SKR Pico is a brand new control board from Big Tree Tech that, despite its tiny size, packs quite the punch, making it an ideal fit for a small form factor 3D printer like the Voron V0.1. A Raspberry Pi RP2040 chip is used as the main controller, with TMC 2209 stepper drivers for the X, Y, Z and E axis with 2 plugs to support dual Z printers. The built-in heatsink gives a computer motherboard kind of styling and helps to cool the drivers a little bit too. Clipper has been considered in the design as well. A TPS 5450 gives up to 5 amps continuous current at 5 volts for a Raspberry Pi, and the included cable makes for easy installation via UART. There's also a replaceable fuse, thermistor short circuit protection, Japanese Murata capacitors, USB-C, and it matches the Raspberry Pi's footprint. You can get yours or find out more via the link in the description. The LGX Lite is a tiny new extruder from Bondtech, which implements their large gear design to provide increased filament grip. On the top, the filament pre-tension lever provides consistent and repeatable filament engagement, while the open sides gives access to all the gears, allowing for easy maintenance.
4 mounting patterns using M3 nuts, provides plenty of mounting options, so its compact, light design and use of NEMA 14 stepper motor make it a great contender for direct drive on high-performance 3D printers. Find your local reseller via the link in the description. UK-based Printy Please specialises in parts and upgrades for 3D printers like the Voron V0 and 2.4. The Kirigami Bed, Sun-on fans, titanium backers and spherical bearings are just some examples of the range of specialist parts available. Check out their shop via the link below. This video is sponsored.
We'll get the right scene eventually. Just click on all of them until the right one pops up. Right. So, I've not done anything. I don't do things while we're doing the sponsor spot because I don't want you to miss anything. So, taking off this cable management from the back, because I think this was the last thing that we put on, so logically you would remove it first, maybe? If we didn't have commercial brakes, we wouldn't be able to do it, so I think they're a small price to pay for being able to do this stuff. Also, the advantage you have is that they're actually applicable. Like a lot of the time when you watch, well, you get ads elsewhere, they're just stuff that you're not even vaguely interested in, whereas at least here, I can talk to you about things that are like right in line with the kind of stuff you'd actually be interested in. So that's the motor out. I'm going to have a look at this compared to what's on that LGX and see if they are different. Do we want to? Don't really want to. Let's just. Let's take a closer look. ST36 STH, 36 STH 17. This is STH 20. 104 AHG, 104 AHG, 210 722, 211 229. So very slightly different. Ah, this is the Voron one. This Voron edition one is thinner as well. Which one are we going to use? I don't know. I guess we should probably use the Voron one because they're the same. Although this has already got a, I don't know if the gear that's on it pressed onto the motor is the same size thing. So we'll have to check that as well. But for now, we just need to disassemble. Oopsie daisy. You want the 20mm one? Is that the thicker one that's with the LGX then? That's 17. Oh, is this STH 20? Is that what made that? How you knew it was the 20mm one? Derek Cirillo with $10. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Yeah, that one's 20. When I got this extruder off and we can get this all kind of separated, then I'll compare those teeth a little bit closer. Can't remember what any of these screws do, so we're just going to take them all out until the whole thing comes apart. The Kirigami bed does need some printed parts. Not many, but it does need some. Can't remember exactly which, but if you check, again, there's a link in the description for the mod. So if you check on there, the STLs are there. It's mainly just one to attach the lead screw and another one to attach the drag chain. I think there's also spacers as well, because you might want to position it differently. I can't remember off the top of my head. That might have been for the LGX actually. We've got a tiny switch here. Tiny switch needs tiny screwdriver. "89 people, 99 people, somewhere between 80 and 90 people, 100 people. I reckon we can do some more likes. Lucky, 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 ticky, diddy, diddy, diddy. Ooh. Okie dokie, that's going down there. Let's get this off as well. Oh. Is my is this one any? No, that's the wrong size. I've not organised my Vero screwdrivers very well, so they're just kind of randomly thrown in a drawer. And because they're not very well numbered, I always pick the wrong one. I never did that kind of colour-coded thing that I said I was going to do. Now, for me, doing these belts was incredibly difficult, and I think I made it more difficult for myself than I needed to. But I can't remember if I need to replace this part or not. So I'll leave it there for a minute. Try and keep the parts together as much as we can. So let's just have a closer inspection of these motors and see what's going to work. The camera is a Panasonic GH5 with, what's the lens? It's a 12-35. Yeah, it's a Lumix lens as well. There is a missing love button. That just sounds a little bit weird. I know what you meant, but it sounds a bit weird. I'm going to guess these are both the same because they're both Bondtech based systems, aren't they? I mean, they look identical to me. Yes, I'm hoping I can leave the belts in. I only got spares just in case because, you know, it's difficult to get them in the belt. Christian Peterson. Pedersen, I'm not sure I can pronounce your surname, but thank you very much. I reckon those gears are identical. Let's just count the teeth to be absolutely sure. Counting teeth is not it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They do look the same. Ooh, do they? Let's just check diameters and stuff as well, just in case they are marginally different. 6mm peak of the teeth. Yes, they're the same. Okay. Everyone's suggesting we go with a 20mm motor. So that's this one. So we can throw this lot away. Run and happy to both see which one survives. Testing. Yay, more people doing LGX mods. I've not I think I did actually ask iFixit about doing sponsorship and they just never responded. So no, it just happens that the logo just points straight upwards. Vera as well, I did contact them, but I didn't expect them to get back to me. So let's get this lot out of here. I'm not sure what to do with the things that I know I'm not going to be using anymore. We've got this entire Bondtech kit of parts basically now, which I don't have a use for. This is very, very small. Is Kirigami Bed upgrade compatible with belted Z drive? I have no idea. Sorry. Belted Z sounds like quite a good idea though. So that's obviously your normal Bondtech style gear, as opposed to the new LGX version. So the fans that are in here at the moment are GDS time brushless DC fans, but the front one is a Sanon. Oh, these are different fans. It's not those fans that are these ones. These would be replacements for the front fan, not for the side fans. Oh, Adam, you doofus. I forgot that those are downward blowy fans. Silly. Okay, well, we might not be using those then. I do believe we do need to get these out though, so... Although I don't need the part, how do I get these out? Oh, just slide them. There's no screw holding it in. There we go. Oh, that's very slim fan. Is that what these are? Yeah. So one of the advantages in my mind as well for belt-driven Z is that you have fewer issues with alignment. It's one less thing that you have to like perfectly align, which can just make some things a little bit easier. Okay, so goodbye big green part. We've got all the new parts. Again, daftly, I just printed in black. So I don't know why I keep printing everything in black. It just looks good, apart from on camera, which is like the one thing I do with my parts is put them on camera. So hot end is all looking fine. That's just ready to go into the next. Yeah, the box ready to be reassembled later. Fans into the box, ready for later. End stop switch. This and this and this and this and this and this. So we might have to make an adjustment for this fan or those fans. What's the difference then? Five volt. Magnetic levitation. This one's made in Taiwan and this one's made in China. This is a lower wattage one. This is 0.72, this is 0.6. So maybe it's slightly slower. Not 100% sure. Okay, that's that lot out of the way though, that's good. Right, let's get the printer back and see where we got to. Starting to look reasonably well gutted. I think it's bed o'clock. Which I know is going to be a bit of a ball ache. There's not so much light coming from that angle. Give me a second, see if I can adjust this a little bit. Probably not a big difference, but right place. I think quite a lot of people have clippered Prusa. I was thinking about it, but the thing is, the Prusa printers as they are, I feel a little bit, they're not, I think they're probably still popular to buy, but they're just not very new anymore. And they're not bad, don't get me wrong, they're still good machines, but for making content, they're just a little bit less exciting because nobody's really, well, my guess is not many people are looking for that sort of thing. It's all very much all out there and well known already. So, how do we do this? I think we need to remove the drag chain at some point, don't we? How do we do that? Try not to stab myself in the process. So I'm just trying to spudger this open. Oh, we had one side off. Why is this such a nightmare? Is it the cables that's stopping it? What's stopping that moving? Oh, it is still caught on that one. There we go. There we go. So now we should be able to separate the bed from the rest of the machine. Not quite yet. I think all the nuts are still captured at the moment, which is good. This gets a bit annoying. So, got these wires, cable management in here that we've got to try and this is difficile, très difficile. Do we just, I'm not sure I want to pull the wires through that drag chain, do I? What's easier? I Thankfully these drag chains are pretty robust and you can bend them quite a long way before they break. So that's that out now. The lighting looks really strange, doesn't it? I don't know why it looks so weird. It just looks odd to me. Just when you think you're making progress. So I think we've got to actually pull these wires back through this drag chain, which will then have to thread them back through again to reassemble. Come on. This way should be the easy way. It's putting them back in here afterwards that's going to be the difficult bit. Oh, come on. Oh, I think this JSD connector doesn't fit through. So let's remove the pins. Sim removal tool out of the iFixer kit works really well for doing these. So let's make sure we keep the label on here. No. It's being a pain. Let's try flathead. There we go. After you pull these through, you flatten them down. I find it quite useful to use a very small screwdriver head and just pry them back up a tiny little bit. You don't want to bend them because they end up breaking quite easily. But if you just pry the lip up, then they'll secure nicely back into whatever connector you push them into. Right, that's drag chain. Assembling this back together is going to be a nightmare. That's one, oh, that's two. They're falling out before I can do anything about it. Smooth that carriage all the way to the back. Oh, I forgot about the camera. Bed's nicely leveled, so I think we're ready to print now. The thermistor wires are PTFE, I think. They're not silicone. Right, there we go, that's the bed out. Nice dinky little heater, 24 volts, 60 watts. And now we can take this bed assembly out. How long have we been going? Only an hour and 20 minutes. We've done quite a lot in an hour and 20 minutes. I've given myself, I think, 5 episodes or 6, I can't remember, to do all of these upgrades. And I feel like I've gone very fast somehow. It's probably a good idea though, because I reckon I'm going to come across loads of problems because I always do. So there's probably a nut in here, I think. Yeah. How long did I say? An hour and 20 minutes. Give it another 10 minutes and then we'll do a little ad sponsor thingy. Is this just now? No. Oh, we have to do the rear, don't we? System that seemed to use 100 billion more screws than it needed. I remember. If he was an optimist, he was positive something would go wrong. Much better to know something's going to go wrong and plan for it than pretend nothing will go wrong and have no plans for when it does. Look at all those. Oh, still falling out. And another one. Left, right and centre, those things. Oh, they're stainless steel as well, so they don't really magnetise. Oh, they do a little bit. I guess we don't really need to take this apart, but... How did I do this? None of my tools fit. Oh, what about that little one that came with the Bondtech? Is that the right size? Yes. Oh, it's just slipped on the screw head. Yeah, reassembly for this printer is basically disassemble the entire thing and reassemble the entire thing. You might as well just start again. It's one of those printers that you want to get right first time. This video needs the watch this video before you build a Voron V0 kind of title. Legitimately, because you want to know what mods you want to try and do before building the printer rather than after. What's a moddable printer, technically? The nightmare of having to reassemble it does potentially tarnish that somewhat. Well, I haven't used that nut modification that I showed you earlier. I think that is really, really quite a big deal. Should not be overlooked. I kind of want to make this black. It's going to look weird in here being all shiny and silvery. I want to paint it black. Get these out as well. The thing is, it's not really complicated, to be honest. Like, the building is no more difficult than anything else. The only problem is holding all the nuts and stuff in place. Like, that's the only thing that's a pain in the ass, really, if I remember correctly. My little basket of things, a basket of parts that I'll no longer need is getting quite big. I need to take that off as well. Yeah, as you say, getting the order of operations right is going to be a challenge when modding it, because you don't necessarily want to take everything apart just so you can modify one tiny little thing. So Kirigami Bed is going to sit in here somewhat like this. I was going to create some soft spaces for this. I've not done that. don't know. Yes, I do need to. Definitely not to. Okay. Probably won't be able to fit this bed today then. It's not supposed to have a TPU spacer, but I know if I screw down these screws and these screws, the whole thing is going to bind up. I'm sure of it. Sure of it. But we've still got disassembly to do, so let's carry on with that. We need to get this off, I believe. Oh, that's just fallen out. That's not what we want. It's also just fallen out. Okay, so I'm going to, knowing that they've literally just fallen out, I'm going to use this opportunity to try out the little nut modification. Printed a whole bucket of these and I've no idea really what size I want. I printed some with a 0.2 nozzle, some with a 0.4 nozzle. Really should have organised these parts. Okay, so we need the hexagonal variant of the M3 screw. Of the M3 screw. M3 nut. Should be some this. Oh, we've got a bunch of spare threaded inserts. I'm going to be trying to use as far as possible the fixings that come with the LDO kit. So this is the all the fixing bag is stuff from there basically. So there you go, that's one in. It should be, so I don't know, a fairly tight fit, and it makes it flex a little bit so that when you push it in, oh, that's so good. I wonder if there was a special one, was there? They have a bunch of generic sizes and they've also got some special sizes. I think this is a special size. Is it? No, that doesn't line up. I think we'll just use the generic, like 12 or 15 mil spacers. But these are just, that one's a bit tighter. I think this is I think the 0.4 millimeter nozzle ones are a little bit too over extruded. So, not fitting quite as well. Did I say 0.2 nozzle before? I meant 0.25. I've got it fitted on the rat rig at the moment. Ah, yes. That is banging. I'm not sure if I like that these screws are black. It actually makes them really difficult to see. And since you can't actually really see them at the end of the build, I'd probably rather just stick with the normal bright zinc plated ones. On a build that's really tiny, visibility is tres importante. Sorry, smash the microphone. Stick those down there. That in there. Right, let's sort this out. Oh, it's an hour and a half. So let's do a quick sponsor segment. Because I'm very grateful that we've been managed to get 3 sponsors for this live stream. Bloomin' fantastic.
This video is sponsored by Bigtree Tech, Bondtech and Printy Please. The SKR Pico is a brand new control board from Bigtree Tech that, despite its tiny size, packs quite the punch, making it an ideal fit for a small form factor 3D printer like the Voron V0.1. A Raspberry Pi RP2040 chip is used as the main controller, with TMC 2209 stepper drivers for the X, Y, Z and E axis, with 2 plugs to support dual Z printers. The built-in heatsink gives a computer motherboard kind of styling and helps to cool the drivers a little bit too. Clipper has been considered in the design as well. A TPS 5450 gives up to 5 amps continuous current at 5 volts for a Raspberry Pi, and the included cable makes for easy installation via UART. There's also a replaceable fuse, thermistor short circuit protection, Japanese Murata capacitors, USB-C, and it matches the Raspberry Pi's footprint. You can get yours or find out more via the link in the description. The LGX Lite is a tiny new extruder from Bondtech, which implements their large gear design to provide increased filament grip. On the top, the filament pre-tension lever provides consistent and repeatable filament engagement, while the open sides gives access to all the gears, allowing for easy maintenance. 4 mounting patterns using M3 nuts provides plenty of mounting options, so its compact, light design and use of NEMA 14 stepper motor make it a great contender for direct drive on high-performance 3D printers. Find your local reseller via the link in the description. UK-based Printy Please specialises in parts and upgrades for 3D printers like the Voron V0 and 2.4. The Kirigami Bed, sun-on fans, titanium backers and spherical bearings are just some examples of the range of specialist parts available. Check out their shop via the link below.
I'm just having a look to see if I can salvage the 0.5mm nozzle ones. I think they're just a little bit too fat, yeah. They might be able... I'll end up jamming it in and not be able to get it out, and we don't want that. So carrying on, let's get this off of here. Now I should be able to get the threaded inserts out of these parts as well. Do still need that, don't we, in the drag chain? That's going to be staying. I put this in here because I want to get the thread inserts out of it. These are like little gold dust and I don't want to lose them. So now we're going to flip the printer face down, hopefully still not lose any nuts. Looking good. And we're going to remove the Z motor. I'm just wondering if I want to do this right now, because I think we might start losing nuts. Oh no, you shouldn't actually. It might be worth me having everything planned though. Do I want to be a bit more prepared? I think I maybe do. So, to mount the bed, we're going to need some parts. That might be one of them. Don't think that's one of them. That's definitely one of them. That's the bend guide. That's not. I think that's literally all I need, those two pieces. Well, that's the front part. Or is that the front part? No idea what the hell this is. I think we'll get the Kirigami mod page up and take a quick look. When I've got it loaded, I shall show you. So this is the page. So parts we need. Yep, that's one. So that's the belt chain mount. Belt chain, presumably drag chain mount. I guess chain mount. Oh, belt. Maybe a belt chain is something different then. That's that piece. Wego mount, that's what that is. So we can put some Wego terminals on the bed to make removal of the bed easier, presumably. May or may not use that. And then a nut block, and we've definitely got that. And then there's this alternative front, which I believe sits on that. So this is, it kind of just makes the front of it look the same as a standard Voron bed. And we've got some tools, a bender tool, and an alignment tool. Oh yes, I did make the alignment tools. Should have a few of those. That should be enough. Okay, so we need to, first to make sure the aesthetics all look good, I'm going to do some heaty things. So we've got this little, I guess it's kind of a propane sort of torch. uses lighter fluid and just heats the part, and that will get rid of the stress marks. If you're not careful, it makes the print all bendy, but hopefully that won't happen. Seems to be running out a bit. Or just being weird. Print quality is actually not super great on these parts, and I hadn't really noticed, but hopefully it's okay. Oh shit. Oops. And this one. Okay, so then I think we need some inserts in these. So this is my old doodah tool for doing doodahs. Could probably see a bit closer. It's still pretty small, isn't it? Ah, that's hot. Caught me out the back. Hopefully they're strong enough. That's got nuts. I think this is going to need some inserts by the looks of it. Actually not sure though. Maybe this side? I've no idea. Does Kirigami have some other instructions? Because I'm not sure what I'm doing. Oh, here we go. So this is the example of how you put the nuts in. So heat sets both sides of this and then here. And it looketh like that afterwards. Do you still enjoy the heat set press you made, or would you make any changes to design after your time lived with it? I'm really happy with it as it is, to be honest. It's nothing outrageously special, I suppose, but it just does the job, like, and it doesn't need much to make it. I think these holes are a bit small for these inserts. I'm going to trim the, some of the plastic is basically just shot out the top as I've pushed the insert in, because it's obviously gone multi-squishy. I can't find the right knife, so we'll use this thin one, but hopefully this is going to be, just going to take this across the top, hopefully. Removes that excess. Got to do this side. Oh, that's still not quite there. Let's push these in a little bit further. There we go, that's looking really good now. These holes are not big enough for inserts. They need to be bigger. At least they should fit in the holes before you press them in. So this is going to need them as well. Nice, and this looks like it wants them too. Good afternoon, Niels. Do you use the mesh bed leveling? The bed mesh leveling on your Voron 2.4. How consistent is your first layer with your? So yes, I do actually use bed mesh. The bed itself has a approximately, I think it was like 1.5, 0.15 or 0.1 variance across the surface. 0.01, 0.1, I think 0.1. So it tends to, it's higher in the middle than it is at the sides, but is even front to back. So I end up having a mesh to compensate for that. First layer consistency is pretty good though. I've installed Clicky Probe on my 2.4 now, which was an absolute nightmare, but I did manage it in the end. And the probing is much more consistent now with that mechanical probe than it was previously with the inductive probe. Despite being a very expensive genuine Omron switch inductive probe thing that I had, it's still not perfecto. So it looks like there's not much more than that on instructions. So it looks like we've got pretty much everything we need there. 4 M3 heat sets, M3 screws, the lead screw mount, 3 screws for Eiger strain, 3 screws for the belt chain. It doesn't really tell you anything about the lengths. So I guess we'll just guess, oh well that doesn't fit. Problem numero uno. That should fit in that gap. That does not fit in that gap. It's quite a way off. Oh, wrong one. So it looks like this separation should be 20 millimeters, so let's check what we've actually got. So the Kirigami beds should solve for people who are having issues with any drooping. Mine is only 18.6, 18.8. That is a country mile away. It's not going to be easy to force it in, is it? You could do, but that makes the surfaces are not very parallel. I mean, that's already really, really not flat. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but in my mind, those two places really need to be flush, and this is like quite a way off. So we've got that bending jig. We can have a look at that. So this is a bending jig, I believe, that's designed to go in here and help you get these angles. And that's, oh, of course it's overbent because, I mean, I'm never going to be able to apply that force with my hands. Looks like they have accounted for spring back, but you're right. I forget what history is. Right here. Don't think I can actually get the history there, can I? V2 is 20 as well. As I also don't know which one is off. Probably both of them by a bit. Okay, so let's have a go with this jig and a clamp and see what we can break. Hopefully not me. Oh, why is that all the way up here? So this is a printed part as a jig to help you bend the angle correctly. Now, I don't have really an appropriate tool for doing this, so we're just going to have to wing it a little bit. I'm hoping a fairly beefy clamp will help it. Good, I'm glad that helps you. I'm going to put some glasses on, safety glasses, just in case something explodes that I don't expect. So, not sure how I'm expecting this to go really, but I mean, in classic fashion, that's now bent too far. So this one we don't want to go as much, but we do still want to bend it. That one's good. So let's try and unbend the other one. So now our gaps, so I'm using this as the datum, which is not really right, to be honest, but it's the best thing I've got for guessing what's square. And I'm using a ruler instead of a right angle, but so I'm touching here and sort of here, so this is too low and this is too low. So this one needs to bend it a little bit more, and this one needs to bend it a little bit less. We might be able to just tweak them by hand now. I don't think we're going to need a lot of, oops, daisy. Shouldn't need a lot of force to get them. But that jig's, I mean, if you're bending it properly, just forcing at the corner or whatever, maybe the spring back is right, but for me that's not worked particularly well. I'm hoping to be building a minion, yes. This is I mean, the most important thing is actually that these two are parallel. They're quite parallel, but not quite parallel. Let's get this one in a little bit more. This one a little bit less. Oh, that looks way too much. Oh, I really... Precision metalwork this is. Oh shit, that's gone a long way. Oh, have we got it? Not really, sort of. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. That's pretty close. It's definitely a lot better than it was. Might be fractionally off, but it's not miles off. Whew. So I think we're gonna hold it there for today. I think we made a pretty good start on getting everything kind of prepared. Maybe? Or do I do more? The thing is, I kind of want to paint this before putting it on the printer. Let's do a little bit more. I was going to stop, but you know what? I'm going to do more. I'm just going to clean this up. I want to paint this Kirigami bed black if I can. I think I've got some appropriate paint, but I want to make sure it's free from oil and grease and stuff if I can. I mean, I'm not going to put gloves on, so it's not going to be perfect. But I'm not after like a perfect automotive finish on this. The style of the printer is looking pretty good as it is at the moment, and I want to try and keep that if I can. So just darkening this up to make it less shiny will be good, I think. Mechanically not going to make any difference, but should look cool. Painting is actually going to be really difficult this time of year because it's freezing cold outside. When you paint, you need to keep it warm as it dries. Or even as you're painting it, really. So winter in the UK is not exactly a great time for that. I don't exactly have an indoor paint booth I can use. Again, I mean, powder coat would be a good option, I'm sure, but it's also not easy for me to do here. What else can we prepare? That's the real question, isn't it? Let's get this into somewhere. That. I suppose we can do this Z motor, can't we? Let's do that. I'm going to have a quick drink. A bit more difficult to reach this screw, it's like right up under here. Oop, got it though. What the fuck? Thank you, James. What did you miss? Well, I've pulled the entire printer to pieces mostly, so that. Oh, I might need to remake this part, mightn't I? Because it doesn't fit. It don't fit, it's no good. Don't fit. Don't fit. Oh Lord, and all bloody good that is. I bet the whole bloody thing's not going to fit though, is it? Because they're way too close. I'm never going to be able to separate those, just like forcing them. It's just not going to work. Might need to come up with a creative solution between the next stream, this stream and the next stream, which is planned to be pretty much tomorrow, by the way. Actually, no, it's not tomorrow. It's going to be the day after, I think. Oh my... Why can't I hold this in? I forgot which way up it was. That. I'll fit these screws in. There we go. Good luck with that then, coil. Hopefully final setup process goes well. Oh, come on, you bastard. Might be time to call it a day, eh? Because I'm thinking, as I'm doing this, not only am I struggling with it, but I do need to reprint this part because it doesn't fit, so there's literally no point in me assembling it. I think that's going to be a good time to stop then today. We've achieved a pretty good amount though, I think. Progress is pretty good. There's still obviously lots to do, but that's literally the point, so that's a good thing. So I think that's going to be it for today. As I said, pretty good progress. Mostly just stripping things down, but oh, screw just randomly appeared. But now you know a little bit more about the mods that I'm going to be installing. Yeah. Thank you very much to the sponsors, BTT Tech, Bondtech and Printed Please. Links are down below. Hope that you have a good rest of your day. And I'll see you all very soon for the next episode. I don't think it's tomorrow, because I think I'm busy tomorrow. Can't remember. What day is it today? It's Thursday today. I think we will manage to one tomorrow. Jesper, link down below. Printy please. Is that X-Rail? No, this is a Voron V0 and this is the Z motor. Right, thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to leave a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you want to see more and stuff like that. And I shall see you in the very next one, which will be probably tomorrow.